That's my poncho. You better go get that. Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. And today, we've got another knife review, guys. This is the brand new Sencut Brazoria. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. You guys know that I'm usually a big fan of Sencut, so let's see what I think of this one. We have a blade coming in at, make sure I'm not going in there, 3.5 inches. It's a little shy, we'll call it maybe 3.4, but I think for all intents and purposes, we can consider it to be a 3.5 inch blade. Let's go ahead and actually run just a hair. Let's bring out our size comparisons. We're at 2. We're at 1. Kind of a mid-size between them. Let's bring out the flagship comparisons. The bug out. I'll put you up there. And the PM2. Let's see, just a second. Aha! That's what my issue was. I was wondering why things didn't look too right. I had my stand a little bit lower than I normally do. Okay, there we go. There's our comparisons. Fairly close in size to the bug out. Okay. Moving on, let's bring out our Civivis. Sencut's, I don't know, sister, brother, cousin brand. There we go. And let's go ahead and close this off by comparing it against some other clip point bladed Sencuts. Here we have the Snap. And my personal favorite, the Episode. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, moving right along. What are we looking at in terms of materials? So, we have a D2 blade. Okay, G10 scales. It's a steel liner lock, steel clip. And it is a straight clip point. The name Brazoria, I guess, comes from a county in Texas. Sencut's been naming a lot of their models after places in Texas. I don't know why, because they're a Chinese brand, but it's interesting at least. I like when knives have names. I like when those names, I guess, have a meaning. I'm not sure what the meaning behind these Sencut knives being named after Texas places is. I guess maybe it's a I don't know, a tactic to appeal to the American audience. But you know what? Naming knives after places in Texas, go for it. I can't wait till they come out with the Sencut Waco, the model built specifically for ATF agents. It comes with a built-in flamethrower and dog whistle. All right, that was a little much. Let's go to the cutting footage. Alrighty, guys, it's review cutting time. We got the Sencut Brazoria today, as well as the other knives that I did review cutting for today. So, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the action. The action is, meh. It's pretty meh. If you guys saw the unboxing, the very first time I flipped this knife, I failed it. And, yeah, the detent is pretty weak. If you push button it really good, it opens. If you light switch it really good, it opens. And, it's easy enough to adjust to where, you'll be fine. You won't miss any flips. So, there we go. You also have this fuller here. You can flick it. The detent is even a little bit light for a reverse fuller flick to feel all that great. My preferred, actually I think the best, most satisfying way to open this knife is thumb flicking off the fuller. To me, that just worked better for some reason. It just feels a little bit better. But yeah, the closing action is actually very good, very smooth, very consistent. Do I have any blade play? Nope. I have to check, because at one point while I was seeing this, I started flipping it out. I was like, wow, the action has gotten so good. Like, holy crap. It's like dropping shut. And I was like, oh, wait. The blade is basically falling off. So, there we go. Let's talk about the ergonomics. They're also pretty meh. I mean, you can grab it. The jimping up here is not real great. The knife suffers from the monster that is the Sencut Civivi Wii clip. Blech. Blech. No, I don't like this clip, especially on a knife where the handle starts out wider and gets skinny. This clip is terrible for handles like this. I can feel it all the time, especially when I'm cutting. It just digs into my... Look at that. It's just not great. I do not like it. I actually hated it so much. I was subconsciously grabbing the knife like this. Yeah, my finger like on the edge, pulling back on the flipper tab just to get away from that dang clip. Like, my hand was like, okay, Gideon, we'd rather cut your finger off than suffer the wrath of that clip. So that says something right there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ergonomics. Besides the clip, they're very just bleh. Pretty neutral, a little bit skinny for my like, but it works, I guess. Okay, let's talk about the carry. Zoop. I say this every time I review a knife with this clip. It's hell in the hand, but it's heaven in the pocket. These clips really do work great in the pocket. Actually, I think that's the first time I've used that phrase. Hell in the hand, but heaven in the pocket. I'm going to start using that more. But it is a good clip. In and out of the pocket, it goes in and out good. It carries well, you know. You don't get any looseness, whatever. The knife itself folds up into a nice narrow package, so it tucks away really well. You can get down in your pocket. The flipper tab isn't so huge that it's, you know, a pocket pecker, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and cut some stuff. The blade, D2 steel, about 20 thousandths behind the edge, so, you know, respectable EDC thinness. We have a straight clip point, well, kind of a straight clip point. This part here actually, like, bowls over a little bit, if you look at this. But, anyways, this knife came dull. It is now wearing a 17-degree coarse edge from yours truly, because I like my D2 with coarse edges. This is double ply cardboard, very thick stuff. Slices really, really well. The coating on the blade actually has been holding up pretty well for me too. As you can see here, we didn't get any scuffs from going through there, and I only have one scuff like right there. So, cool. All right, let's grab our rope. Do a little bit of a pull through. Very, very nice with that coarse edge. I guess it really didn't matter that I took it behind the edge reading before I sharpened it, because, you know, when you lay back an edge to 17 degrees, especially on a flat grind, that's going to change the edge geometry quite a bit. But there we go. There's one push. Two. Oh, wow. That actually did really good coming through that rope. Very, very good marks. I am happy with that. That's one thing that the straight clip point blade gets you, is you can really get down some powerful pushes on that little bit of belly there. Really, really nice. Okay. Pool noodle time. Let's see how well they did their grind. Okay, I might have tried to go a little bit too thin there, but wow. It almost did it. That is a very thin wafer, and it almost did it. Let's go a little bit thicker. And it's gone. Okay, that one was a little bit thicker than I wanted to go, but you can see how consistent that was. It does feel good, and that is something that Sencut / Civivi have always been good at, is nice, consistent grinds. So you can't knock that. Alrighty, next, let's go ahead and do our strength test. We're going to do the antler batoning and chop. You thought, what do you think this is? Forge and fire? Get out of here. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the Sencut Brazoria. But before we do, I actually brought out some special additions to the review display. This here is Acrocanthosaurus, a carcharodontosaur from the early Cretaceous of Texas. One of the coolest fossil localities in the world is actually in Texas, and it's a fossilized trackway of an Acrocanthosaurus hunting down a sauropod. Really, really interesting stuff. And I also brought out, I'm not sure if you can even see it, but this little mineral here. This is a mineral called aragonite. It is a carbonate mineral, a calcite carbonate. Or calcium carbonate, my bad. I brought this out just because it like matches the scales. But yeah, there's my little aragonite crystal. Okay, let's move on to what I'm liking and not liking about this knife. First of all, I think it looks good. You know, I'm a fan of clip points and stuff. I think it looks good. Yeah, cool. Next thing, the build quality is good. It's a Sencut, Civivi, Wii, whatever. They always have good build quality. So, big fan of that. Next, the D2 blade performed pretty well, and the D2 seemed to be hardened appropriately. I'm not an expert, but when I sharpened it, it felt pretty hard. I'd say it was about 60, and it's been performing really well. I know a lot of people are sick of D2, and a lot of people are like, oh, D2. But, you know, it's a good steel, especially if someone does it right. And, yeah. So, you know what? And especially at this price point, that's fine. Next thing, T8 hardware all the way around. That's really, really cool. The pocket clip is reversible. So we got you some lefty love. They have a lanyard post instead of a lanyard hole. That's cool. Access to the lock bar is really good. Appreciate that. The closing action is very smooth and consistent. So I like that a whole lot. Let's check for blade play. Rock solid. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. And it folds up into a pretty manageable package for carry. So I like that. Also, the blade performs well. It's about 20 thousandths behind the edge. It's a good blade shape. It's kind of an average performer, especially from like Sencut and Civivi, who are known for, you know, ultra smooth grinds. But the blade stock's not too thick. The grind is, you know, good enough for anything. Right now, I have a 17-degree toothy edge on there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's my favorite type of edge to use on D2. It holds its bite so well, and it'll just cut forever. So, there's what I like. Oh, and the price. It's $45. I think the price is really good. I like the price. Next, let's go ahead and get into what I don't like. And this is mostly, this is mostly going to be just a bunch of, like, meh type. Oh, wait. One thing I like, in fact, one thing I love, is that this is a black wash blade instead of a gosh darn bead blast. I'm sick and tired of bead blasts, especially from Wii Civivi Sencut. They rust, they look like crap, and they don't hold up to use at all. So I think there is a version of this that's offered with the bead blast. Don't get that. There's a couple of different versions that have this coating. If you're going to get this knife, get the coated version. Okay, moving on to my dislikes. Number one, this knife was not very sharp out of the box when I got it. You can watch the unboxing, it was actually borderline dull. The tie-in I reviewed was also not as sharp as I would have liked, but it had an edge. This knife had burrs just all over the edge. I know that's probably just mine. You know, that's probably a factory oopsie, but, you know, I'm a reviewer, gosh dang it, I gotta mention it. So yeah, there we go. But now it's all sharpened up, and we're ready to go. Next thing, the action is just kind of meh. The detent is not particularly strong, and, you know, maybe they left it that way because of the fuller flick, but flicking off the fuller doesn't feel as satisfying as other fuller flicking knives are. You know, it doesn't have that nice, clean break. And, yeah, that's a shame. For me, the thumb flick, oops, if I don't mess it up, is actually not the best way to open the knife, because like when I'm actually using the knife, when I was pulling it, I went, wow, and it's just not working today. When I actually pull the knife out of my pocket, I'm never going to thumb flip it. I'm going to go for the flipper tab. And in all fairness, the flipping action does work. Like, you know, if you really power it, it'll flip. The jimping on flipper tab is really nice. The flipper tab is shaped well. You know, if you're a man about it, it'll flip. But the action's just not, like, you know, it's not as good as it could be. So, gotta ding it on that. Next. Okay, the pocket clip. Look, Sencut, Civivi, we. Guys, we need to talk. No one wants these clips. No one. And it's such a shame because, you know, the old Civivi clip, this one here, the old square one, was a lot better than this clip. I would give the square clip like a B+. This one I'd probably give a solid C. In and out of the pocket it works fine, but in the hand, it's just miserable. Look at this. Look how tall that clip is. And then it comes out to that little jabby poke there. And especially on a knife like this, it starts out fatter and goes to thinner. You just feel that clip so much in your hand. Here on the snap, it works a little bit better. Still not my favorite clip, but since the handle is fat back here, your hand kind of goes around the clip a little bit better. Like your hand fits around there a little bit better. When you have a knife that has a narrow tapering butt, you gotta leave that clip at home. It's not great. Focus on that clip. Let's look at it in all of its shameful glory. Focus. Also, the coating wears off, but I don't really care about that. So yeah, next thing, let's talk about the ergos. They're just really kind of meh. You know, the pocket clip's an issue. The jimping is too short and really not that grippy. And, you know, this thin handle. I mean, it's a very neutral grip, but it's just so meh. Look, I have not the biggest hands. I wear a medium-sized glove. And this handle feels too small for me. Like, you know, for just a light-duty EDC knife, you pull it out of your pocket, make your cut, and, you know, put it back in, you'll be fine. But, like, for me, if I was bearing down on a harder cut or something, I mean, it's just, bleh, I hate that clip. I hate these narrow handles. And then the flipper tab actually was a little bit scrapey. I already mentioned that actually I was choking up and holding it like this more often. Just not the greatest ergonomics. Next thing, the sharpening choil, it was okay, not amazing, but it was okay. Are you noticing a theme throughout this video? But yeah, and that coating held up okay. There's some blemishes in it, and I don't know, not the most durable coating, but it is a budget knife, so. Let's go ahead and get on to my final conclusions. This is really hard because for me, I'm not particularly fond of this knife. It leaves some things to be desired for me. However, the build quality is good. Civivi has great build quality. You know, you have these external stop pins. You know, you've got the good solid lockup. You know, it will work great. And this is odd because do I recommend this knife? If someone came up to me and they said, hey, I bought a Sencut, whoops, my bad guys. I bought a Sencut Brazoria. I'd be like, oh, yeah, cool, awesome, you know, you'll enjoy it. Or if someone comes up to me and says, hey, I'm thinking about buying a Sencut Brazoria, what do you think? I will tell them, you know what, if the design speaks to you, get it. It's a well-made budget knife. And at $45, I'm finding it really, you know, it's a really good knife for $45. It is. And especially in a world where Civivi is not really a budget knife brand anymore. I like seeing these sub $50 knives. So this knife to me, it had a lot of issues to me. However, they weren't like deal breakers necessarily. For me, they are. They might not be for you. But they're more kind of just... This knife to me is meh. It's not bad. I do not want anyone to think that, you know, I'm saying this knife is bad. It's not. This is actually a good knife. I'm just saying that it's kind of meh to me. One thing I want to point out, actually, is that this part here is not completely straight. If you look at it there, like rolls. So, anyways, whatever. So, if you're considering this knife, you know, this might make a great gift knife. Might make a good kid's knife. I think the handle might fit a kid's hand fairly well. But, you know, I would say if you're looking to buy a new Sencut and you like the straight clip point, I would go with the snap instead. Well, it has that awful Sencut bead blast, and look at that rust on there. Took it hiking with me one time. I would go with the snap. My favorite Sencut right now is the Tainan. I have a review up for that. You guys should probably check that out. This one, I'll say you can pass on it. I was really interested by the looks. I thought it looked really, really good. It's kind of my perfect EDC size. But for me, there was a lot of things that made this just, you know, not really my favorite thing to carry. I think there's better budget knives out there. I do think, though, that if you get one, and if the ergos work out to be better for you, I think you'll enjoy it. And the build quality is definitely there. So this is one of those weird knives where it gets a recommendation from me. Like, I can recommend this knife. It's well built. It will do what you need it to do. But I really don't like it at all. So that's going to be my final conclusions on the Sencut Brazoria. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree? If you have the knife. I mean, if you don't have the knife, are you going to get one? Are you not going to get one? Yeah. Leave a like. Subscribe. I've been Gideon. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.